Very Brother P. Like just before I go forward to read some of the comments that he threatened me that if I get too passionate, he will take the mic away from me. That's why he's saying that I should continue. Sanda, it's a pleasure being here. Sanda, Susie K, and much appreciation to the custodian of history. It is a pleasure to hear everyone, a great learning opportunity. Wikuda Canada, we wish to thank Mr. Eugene Tawe for taking up the interpretation in English. Wow, I didn't even know that this was being interpreted.
Yeah, just
so
a point of correction.
And then,
point of correction there. Actually, his profile shows that. So that may have been an oversight from my part. So I do apologize for that. But again, we have persons on ground who could always do that when time comes. Right. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Then be questions very online before I can go. I know that time for me, EK had his hand up and is down now. But there was a question from Francis. Indeed, I heard that the Maya can have a concubine called Nyamdu. Can this Nyamdu be someone's husband, or does he have to stay single in order to play this role? That for me, the man job.
That is solved.
The Nyamdu can be anybody. It could be somebody's husband, or it could be.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All of the above.
All right, Barry, moving on. Anyway, somebody from the iPhone just says greetings to Tonton P and others. Tonton, I guess, is Uncle P. I don't know. Mala, greetings from Belgium. This is such an eye-opening topic because caring for the Mayas is something that I personally have never thought about. I am happy to be here. Greetings to all and kisses to all our Mayas. Mala, make one an eye-opener for all of us. So this is a great opportunity. Francis, I can just say again thanks to Tam and Dimanjong. This raises the question of whether we're going to stay in an oral culture. I think this was in reference to what you said, that historically we might want to go back to find out where we deviated historically from the role of the Mayas. And the issue here, I guess, is that being oral history, when it's retold from generations to generations, it changes. And I don't know whether this is mostly a comment. We should endeavor to write our history, because when it's oral, it's going to be lost along the way. I don't know, Tom, for me, whether you want to say something to that.
Yeah, I think I was making the observation that the predicament that we find of the Mayas now might be different from the life that the Mayas previous, from the founding of the institution of Maya. What they had as their experience, or the difficulties that they dealt with and how they dealt with time, that could have been lost because much of this is oral. Then, like I said, like the Fons, the Mayas more or less learn on the job. And because they learn on the job, if the right opportunities, if the same opportunities present themselves for their learning, then there's continuity. But if those opportunities change, either are not available, then things get lost along the way. So if there's some way we could go back and see what we can salvage of what exactly is of the Maya were and what the responsibilities of the community was, or the palace was, to the Maya, then we may have something to go by, which could become continuous. Because if we again just do it like, okay, let's do something, and then it kind of aura, well, with time, this again could become lost. And when it's lost, the Mayas coming after will continue to be the ones that are victims of their circumstance.
Fabian, is it related to this point or a different question? I mean, you want to say something different because I want us to finish from these comments before we go to questions that people have. If your comments are not related to these, let me finish reading and then I'll get to your hands. I think the same with Dr. D.
Yes, Merolane, the question, you're very relevant. And you see, you in line with trying to document so that we have reference. Me see a blueprint about Bush so many historians, so you tab be more you shadow sang bonata. Groups be using when Bomoshi Dembo Amobuha, group Moyotone Ndila. Me generate those things in a sigalo sang bonbon, see to a reference point. And the Bush is ilana so me question necessary and then actually you motivate people something people to that kind of document jasi see got to jasi sample time for me balana this is boring see she evolve actually
just along those lines another I think another follow-up comment from Francis Kuba the same way we need to spell out the people's responsibilities regarding the Mayas. And prior to that, he made another comment, which I think Fonganja already responded to, so we wouldn't belabor the point. He said, can we say that the chiefs or the funds have been neglecting the roles of the Mayas, or how come some Mayas find themselves in a lack, whereas the chief or the fund is still ruling the people and not complaining? Megwani Fonganjo explained that very well, Secretary Ademizanaka. Then Dr. Mbum, the Mayas are enthroned as children, so they can learn on the job. One can expect this training to come more from the older Mayas. After their cleansing, how available are they in the palace to train the younger Maya? Taking care of our Mayas, as articulated by our Maya of Ndu, will make them available in the palace to provide mentorship and support to the fund. Mekwani again with the discussions, I'm going to say about young Maya, over giving suggestions. In it, we can allow the Ngwagus to also to be accessible to the Ngwagus instead of the Ngwagus running away from them because them go you know, and then the Maya, the Ngwagus over into the palace. So Mekwani, these are some of the proposals that we can change. And the Maya show mentor way they can be available. But I think the question goes beyond that, Alana, when if the Maya was not taught properly, because they were left to their mothers to do it, maybe it will be perpetuating the wrong cycle, right? So Mekwani, their proposals that we either put some guidance or some structures for people that can have access to the Mayas and train them. Anybody has any comment to that? Again, it's to do with who is training the Mayas and who is available to the Mayas when they're crowned as children so that they can be brought up properly in the ways and the rules of the Mayas. Wakili, for me, Wakili, would comment to that part or something else?
Generally, this you Maya about Mayuk be Jala, some of it, Mommy Baje.
No, from them missing me comment and then we'll come to that. So just keep your hand up.
No,
okay.
Dr. Yenge, let's not get confused here. Maya Sume Kawarabani Fumentoha. Like Ambombala, it is an office that is given to her. So you're working and to Edal Maya, Olaguba, the senior Mayas, they are always in the palace. They do things in the palace, they advise the fund and they support the fund. It doesn't mean that when the Maya leaves the throne, that Maya has left the palace. If I look back on Tuska. So they are always in the palace to train the young ones, to support the young ones, and even the.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Tata. Then the other one, there's another comment from Sandra. What an interesting discussion. Happy I was able to join. Is it possible? Okay, this is we're taken care of when the learning thing. I thought it's knowledge. Yes. Okay, I think this comment was to do with the fact that Tata Abalani, some people go and they don't even visit their palaces, not to talk of the Maya. Somebody wrote, Susan, I believe that our society is structured in such a way that some of us even fear going to the palace. I personally always think that only certain people have access to the palace. I wish through such sessions, our funds come out and encourage us to approach them in their palaces. So I don't know what that is. Tata.
Oh,
No
fun. Yeah, the door of the
okay,
palace.
Susie, your answer is
Yeah, easy.
wait, I found webcam. I'll be the co worker. I'm married. Where I found webcam. Me kwani am go we be no be the co we. A winter.
Go somewhere in full love. Get back to the phone so that tomorrow you have a lot of.
Me kwani Susie, young girl, we be no be the co ya winter.
Me kwani mentor your body. She work it do work out problem. I do mentor.
Go ahead.
Mentor your police. Why she work it to get a do tell your problem. What's up? You see society organized. She ne work out problem. Do mentor abu solution ka. I'm what you see. Mentor adi she see kill of one film. See even a boo. I mean the working jiki young wa dumbo. So adi mo she ne be she work with ka. I my guru for more encouragement wa.
Video, Susie. The next time we do a mentor with all confidence and your head held high. Maya, from what I hear, are like the VPs of our villages, an office on its own that needs to be catered for. Proud that the hidden cry is now a public cry. Beta will see. Today, that is again from Susan. And then there's one the Dr. Francis. Today's topic was focused on MAYAAS. Whatever resolutions taken should be extended to Mankford's point well noted. Susie again, if the Nyamdu is a married man, does that create a conflict in the man's marriage, or is it just an accepted culture? From the MAYAAS perspective, has this been challenging, or do they agree with the status quo? Can this part of our culture be modified? If yes, how? Has anyone heard the silent cry of the children of MAYAAS? Open. And Maya also is that continue to bring conflict in their marriages? Should we discourage that, or should we allow it as is?
Where are the panelists?
That's all for me.
Time for me,
Lala.
The issue even Maya kature ntarshigu o eture ntarshinyar o nyamdu cheyo ndungwe mo eke gypsy yo yumo ka joba ndi ndungwe mo na kutur bengeta gypsy yumo ha bane arugo na shingu yana teguro yeti yeni te banje na ka do aka chitur ntarshinyar wi mwe hetun jingwe we kirba yumo chiwur wi ning jimmo shi gypsy ga she lane ayu beba wa tur ntarshinyar wi mwe hetun jingwe we bana wurgo na shan di wembo me teguro do yeni ana yana bongora cha shi na dukar sake ambo wura lawa.
I like that.
Oh, hola, va fele hola, the royal we
Would ga lambo we lana. Waga yembo time for me ike lana bana la wa we ten ku ba yi ba je wala.
Okay, me say address the question are you leo time for me hola. Tata about it alive more and for me hola we wa bani
For me, Kerala.
okay.
Yeah,
Benny. Time for me the manja.
Yeah, you much Dr. Wemgong raised in at the Mbum Maya as well, and then about extent
Mankford.
yeah, and then we much you similarly placed. Jadi the other forgotten Yungashines Itur Anta Mankruwi. Yeah, which in a sense provides it's some kind of a misnomer the way it is. Yeah, because the Mankru is in the sub palace, while the Maya is in the main palace. Maybe Mayas would have been Mankrus and then yeah, since they're next to the Nkru and they're with the Nkru. And then the Mayas should probably have been with the sub palace. Yeah, but the Mankrus are in the sub palace. Not all sub palaces. They are usually in the sub palaces, the ones that we refer to as Njirong, that is the principal sub chief that sits next to the fawn.
Yes.
At their own coronation or enthronement, they have the Mangfu enthroned with them, just like the Maya is enthroned with the fawn at the time of the fawn's enthronement. And then some of our villages, even though we are talking as if everything is uniform, there are local differences in terms of even the Mayas. Like I think in Dude, they do graduate or have a rite of passage. But I think in Tala, I don't remember knowing of any Maya that was graduated or was given a rite of passage. So they kind of grew in Tala, they grew and remained in their role, except that the practices may differ. Absent the fawn, instead of the grown-up Mayas sitting on the throne, probably sits on a sub-throne that is placed next to the throne in the Tala circumstance. And then there are other persons too that have similar predicament. Take, for example, in Tala, they have what they call the Mayao. The Mayao too, ends up with a Nyamdu, just like the Mankwe ends up with
for Mimbi.
Nyamdu. Yeah, so I was just expanding on what Dr. Wengong suggested, that we expand to rather than wait for the future to have this other cry come to us. I will make it.
Yeah, very easy. If Maya, we have a young one. I mean, feedback is a speech. Whatever we do, we should extend it to the monks. But there was another part of that question, which was the cry of the children of the Mayas. That will be inherent in empowering the Mayas and making them if we empower them, whether through education or trade, they can also take care of their children, or if they're married. So CP lovers and I can make that Nora Pelodero Makuta Ken and Gafferson, but Kaya last in your sorry.
No Kadim Kula before Mkala them transfer my respects to His Royal Highness and the Mayas and all dignitaries and my fathers and mothers in the house. Martha, for a little response to the question from Susie and Lane, worrying about the Nyamdus is not an issue. Mekwasine Tata Bafa, a very good answer to that question. And Lane Maya Bitter an opportunity and Lane Miruku ambo Tamfomiawala Tarsunyor it's always about what they know and what they've been empowered to do or what not to do. To make worker empower Mayas forward the education and the options and the opportunities that are better off than be inherently by an issue in Wowika. Obi lor a better decision on what to do with themselves than don't make Kwasinaka empire in Maya. But that will not be an issue for her because it be ba ebelan lane midu bicha future a business or things that I can do to take care of themselves. So it all goes back to the empowerment part of it. We empower them. We don't have to worry about no nyamdu, whether it's, we don't have to worry about that because we've taken care of our own. So I'm bomba ko fire.
Barry say, Fabian, I chose the bomb phone, so I think we have other comments coming up, but we'll keep addressing and going back and forth. Fabian.
Beri, mambo manto o maya tapsini a kimferhane. Ambo mechumna yu shi su meto se na truly ayu mo shi mempa shi fong oga e bambolo neglect the office of the Mayas wa kimferhaga shi mititi mechumna kwa shi se ne mene a ka bane an ayong shi tarinjirong e ambo balana de nyamdu iba ye ne sina de nyamdu ba mweshine turungwaji but mo o mweshe turungwaga yushine shi gypsy atumina se ni yune wa ade nyamdu tarshegu legally o maya shi ye pon ka bad kulone amungweke doma embassy ine mero duni America ilana oke mero do werngwawa nyamdu abani kongziva maya se ni ayababi wa ade or grant a legal document ambo certificate of marriage. Chinebi do my embassy and a table use just like any other person. Then leveraging on the resolution, shamu frimbi imbi ye ambo bo maya onyamdu ade ogi. Ade china affects the culture and jeke and this legal court document. She don't she know okay maya onyamdu otarchi guna. Ade divorce fonkulo funjo, then the property sharing and all of that with Viva and JK, see already a BME in a otra pretty do fear saka Yumaya ba manfa ambo community or handles mekwane tang mo sha de ogi unit take care from the village level. Merine in most palaces, also traditional council. And traditional councils are made up of quarterheads who are mostly men. Or tarfies and all of that, who are mostly men. We got Bipshin Mbum Chuminana, you meet a lot of Mbum cultural groups, whether it is Mbum Culture Project, Ndabietnendila, and all of that. Still, we got Bipshin the functions of Maya. I can give you one or two, not all right, but we know that it goes beyond that. And now you much in a similar, I feel like empower a lot. What are they all include the office of Maya at the village level? She state clearly in Abiobi ba advisors ni Maya and I tell it lead from a council ambo maybe women's council and educate wo with buhabo duye ne acha do organize at fansu empowerment and all of that table to function but you may be symbols in the legal part of that relationship are they a play what they we more clarify Melaberi.
There is a Fabian.
I clarify.
I want to chip in to go ahead.
You from Tata. Okay, time for me, Lala. Time for me.
Etem la wete tata ka lanjo tata ki tudi pick or say. You chi woman mo yune. This is the first system we mo. Able comply with our traditional system ga. Wagabane wo yumina ashi marry ne we marry and di Mbum. Ambo we ha chi we you bingi angona. Wagabane abe marry ina be marry but to comply American system. Ade faga. Able to comply with mo visa about to America. Ade faga. She na shimina bandi Mbum. She be getting Mbum. Abajan jene waga shi marese ne wa shi tatu yon tashi guye nyamdu o shi tu yon tashi guye jimwache Yumaya. According to the term of that agreement we are Ture and Diana. Before the we got from them take out do but me che obe accept you and do a broadcast do she but through visa can do be America ta wo bingi anguwa. The issue mbo Lujibanje ndunjine. Through yon touchy one the Wimbum, Mbum. Waga touchy, Wagaba we Nyamdu, and Nyamdu to run back. Wagaba we Jim Maya Ambo, Nyamdu to run back. Banege Tiji with it. Wa foot and she done it to somewhere or what Tunjim more. She was married away in a Angbaw. Then I Maya a second wife or something like that. Bane Yana Ayuchi where she touching and Dilo and Bangrung.
Time for me, Barry. Before them got Susan, I told me to before them could lie more. Time for me, time for me, we're responding to this question from the point of view of that is beneficial to the Nyamdu. But I think Fabian's question speaks to the point of Mayana has an opportunity, right, to go somewhere to better herself and maybe her children. And part of it being that there's a civil marriage certificate that would benefit her, not the Nyamdu, you know. Mekwani is very pertinent.
Yeah.
Because as part of this empowerment, if that opportunity comes to, okay, see, but let's be short when we're responding to this. So this is the crux of it. We shouldn't look at it only as that it's beneficial to the Nyamdu, but what if that civil union is potentially beneficial to the Maya and she wants to take it on? Have we clearly defined that?
Okay, Dr. Yengi, before we're turning into that type of a union, we're in the status of a Maya from the beginning. We understand now. The status of a Maya you define, abandon. You okay, even make you formula me, okay, goose Maya. You mean to a core cabinet or core cabinet to Maya, it will backfire. But usually can be arranged just for convenience. In terms of better, you be benefit Maya. That can be understood. But you define it, you let the individual know that the status of a Maya is this. Oh, you go to Maya, oh, you come into Maya, and come roam to Maya, no. If I'm a formula, me, and I just saying it cannot be done.
It cannot.
It cannot be done. It was a terrible mistake. So you see, Baba, she you got document. Single go understand no Cameroon is very fast. The table benefit my we can understand that. Yes. Why should we say that? Yeah, Boma Bomento. You born a phone. Anything can happen. In the situation where there is no successor, in a chieftaincy crisis, and we only have children of Maya, what do? We revert to them.
Tata Maya turbo me to me bom tate Maya la me na Maya zofeka mekuye ne Maya.
Berio me shani tata ashani wewe me you mero la mera bambo me si obalambo ini nyamdu ka ba kwa asadu o ni pa argi certificate o Maya kata odu melena me kwa asane mbwana fo yu ni mlungwe sinjo ambola ne Maya married na ni mini wesi Maya lo turbo ka ba ni ba married nwe sima ngwana ba ngwe fa shine iba turfo ngwa te bwana o shi tur benefit ikusti ba difficult jobi o yotur marriage certificate ka bede machi lawa amid tata la ne kata okule kupsuna me kwa asane zana yuba yumo sine si atura ndomindo no fon ene otura hwe nji mmeno jobu Maya olo turunge mo fon bane ngwe ayu shine jubwana berasi ko ne te ba gi te bwana o shi tur benefit bere we abaka jobi o Maya tur marriage certificate ka bane mbwana fon adza mo shine iyule ile obalum ni fon bane si ku hwe ele ka mbwana
Moderator, can I say something here?
Time for me, it is never be since I have a panelist. And
Barry, the moderator, at least when you through you important and my young she Meru, on this point of marriage certificate or the civil status marriage, Mr. Fabian Avona, that unfortunately is a trick to the Mbum culture. Why do I say it's a trick? Because if we look at the advantages that we are trying to link to officializing this marriage, for instance, the benefits that a marriage certificate will come with, let us also look at the dangers that come with this certificate. What if tomorrow the man brandishes the marriage certificate in front of the court of law and said, this is my legally wedded wife, I have to bury her wherever I want, whereas a Maya is not supposed to be buried out of the palace? You know, we see our culture being sold to the administration because of simple benefits that we could still provide for if at all the institution of the Maya was well taken care of. Secondly, I will bring us a little bit back. The fund, His Majesty, the fund of Njirong, drew our attention to the fact that the palace in general is neglected, and the institution or the office of the Maya is part of the palace. And if you're looking at the cry of the Mayas today, maybe if you listen to the cry of the sub-chiefs, it will sound louder and more frustrating than the ones of the Mayas. And when you go to the funds, it is even worse. It's not because the Mayas are complaining today that the funds are comfortable. No, the palace in general in Wunlan is uncomfortable. And what is causing this problem? There is a gap. There is a social gap between Mbumland and the subjects. This social gap has been created partly by rural exodus. You know, historically and back in the years, the fund had a grip over his people because they were living in a place where he could control them. But today they are all over, and his traditional authority cannot span out of his, you know, geographical territory. Atachumbo inati dunya America mwega. Those are the type of things, cohesive measures they were using to have things in the palace. But today, due to the fact that people are all over the world, it is difficult for traditional authority to have a grip over the people. But we want to thank God for, new technologies of information and communication like the WhatsApp and social media outlets that we have today, that we are trying to see how the traditional authority can be reinforced through these outlets so that the fund, wherever he is, can have a grip over his people. In this respect, the palace will gain a certain degree of authority and control over the subjects so that the things that the palace should normally benefit from can come not only to the fund, not only to the Maya, but equally to the Tawi fast, and why not time for me, Berry? Because we informers, we are suffering also.
Very so, you know, very say may young so we say, Susan, I trust a meter. I'll go to people that haven't spoken yet, then we'll go back to the other one. So Susan. Come on, what dear Miss Asusi, your boss says, you're in business or and the Berry.
Berry, Mangiri. Please, sorry my voice, I'm under the weather. His Royal Highness, all dignitary in the House Maya and everyone, all respect, all respected. Yeah, I think when it comes to legality, with Mbumland and the law, I think we have to be very careful. One thing I would say we should explore is, even when you are doing things in America, there are exceptions. And there are some things that are equal to what we are trying to just switch ourselves to. If we have a good law in Mbumland and we say this status is equivalent to this kind of thing in government, and probably we can advocate for the Cameroon government or whatever council that can recognize the Mbum culture, so that we don't have to equate ourselves with the West or whatever we know, like legalism that they acknowledge. We have to acknowledge things in our culture and make it equivalent and probably fight to have those things recognized by our entities, so that when we're dealing with stuff like this, we'll say MAYAAS are never married, but their children are recognized as this. Maybe a document can be generated to say, this is the person that is taking control of the MAYAAS and these children at this time. It will always not be like that. And then if that term is, they have to renew to make sure that term is continued. There are always exceptions. So let's explore the law and see how we can get our voice into the law rather than following it. Thank you.
Susan, I appreciate it. We do, maybe we can employ something from the what's called prenuptial agreement, written before the certificate, but I don't know how that will be respected in Cameroon. May only time for me, Pastor, about that generally. So I want you to speak now, since you're in the discussion, who include everything at this, and say we will move forward. Time for me, Wakili.
Yonshi Wisima, Manto, Mechane, Mama we, Mangiri, very well. The question is Charlie Mumtine, Imke, Yangani, Limboa Binti. See Yonshi Wisi, Yonshi Bingi, Maya we, may you know where you are meeting, Satria Association. You are you Lulu see him Balulu, may get in Korana. I got Gerala, where do you Maya capture Jine Amya Waterka? Pero de Tinina Bandu La Chinepe Ando Achumi ye Allah Ntombi Wamlane in Adi Maya do Chuji Yamdo Adi Alukom Cap Imindu Bo Belane per Agigarwe in a way a protect his tradition. The la Agil do women that Mikabara in a wabo chubo si protect that tradition. And the way in a wado the destroy sheka. You chine wam la botan in a isita ala sedina ayomini. Adi mo katlo ma papone ko kap keba kuwasindae imi chuangonga. Ya na wam la wa memlane siku moshi yeka ine wa imi bawane sifalo ki yumo being zero lane maya tu problem si arenge si fie problem na abo maya la si ke ni wowe iba na ba ke ni wowe si lane ai wa do bana si ma si lane wa do a jenjo si ko an fie problem na ka problem tim bibshika yeka ni abo minto tina si ba abo nto wimborna wa si abi kwa shine wa maya that office of maya mi baba fa wa si wimbomi si ambichu akwa shine wa si migi yumo ni bang abo si lo gine bang tuna wa si kilo maya ki fune si do si fai yumo le ai si ama shi bwana wewe be yuchine si worry me god and be yubane zero reduce zero eliminate the office of maya buba yo timrola. Two things in Tombi when Chineki chumi kabara Tombi ikeba maya setting na si ya boasi got China be non maya ka alo eliminate position na si alo ke we officially the queen mothers whereas they are our queens not queen mothers setting na zero eliminate bo imi kabara njo akigar bo maya aki chumi kabara seni shala na aji wa kudochu ambe so ana you si fashi menge me kwa shine you deliberate ana you chine si abafe you deliberate ne zero ku destroy that office of Mayana table can exist ka ana si challenge isita balawo awo balana ne si fieka ine wa ntu mo oyo chine emilo fabone ko kable ikotis ye simiku ye yusi lana si teni mundila limbo jine ndo afumi ye ana atu am put it back kupshi limbo mana sabro for the wrong message ni bieka
Bu you got is tram gi. Abo melana see you wrong. See we see Maya. See yekane village development associations. Aja gi kele ka year every year. Abo ami si gi the same abo aja asigi the Maya. Bindu mo mesila ni mangiri. Ine we phone minjo o yekane ine aji with Tommy. Maya ban jekele. Very you matram la.
Very sit down for me. Very sit me do me Tango JB. Then after that me do to Dr. Budi back. Take out for me Dr. Ndi. We time for me. Them the me yeah.
I'm not getting.
JB.
Okay.
I'm not getting it. I'll get it for you.
Yeah. Barry. We Maleo. Okay. You ni kotim sing when me ning me plan an meeting same meeting malava meeting fala gypsy me ning late. But makubi ning aku you la muku then aka kirsin back ayu ambo Fabian a day time for meeting a day ne yaunde. It's per you so me mo kwa san gypsy just boom you ambo time for me wakile la kuna you wore me over the years. This is ambo memko kabane bi so ringi Maya mungu kunto ndong Maya mo untungir mingai simtu shumbu ambo a courthouse wa im settle disputes sinika leila imi sim loga iwe oka do ni rural council ambo im fa wa and then ambo untungir na ngira na with it's be over ni cases mingai then bani bi ku koni yujinjo bela basi ni mela iye bambo bwana a disappear wa bambo si alesi ambo Maya seniors observer empower will also play those rules ambo smell famo this example smell fana adi Maya ka ko du gwe o du kae o du tur problem siga barbanjo sia bambo you ambo sia relegate Maya to the background wa ini sia back put back to the drawing board yen Maya am to ambo visi culture la kabane sika maintains respects simo busu si sina si aba even atran di just Maya oba to problem ga but also to problem also yet ambo to problem wa banjo si relegate to the background so I'm certain bakuro la then number ba nsila du ku ambo use time for me get edison la ni yaunde iyo buambo si lana magorifa buha inesi si ta oturungir mindu wa subject ka me kwa mene iyo njozi sine ntito mo aning ni sisi ne ab sin ntito na bonga njozi ni si ta antur ngir musi ndu bani si suppose and respect wo we but ntito ka ning ni si wa igisi ni si akri respect wo ga njozi ngati respect ka ade turungir mindu nganga. So the only situation sine scenario sine ade visi ta turungir visi nduka yubane sikiri ni wo we ka njozi oka lane okay oba chusi ni kula wa bane okay we you mu kunto njung o we you mu Njirong gi mo ni yaunde so we fa mwemo ye you na sine yuba fa sine you ni sine ndito abzumeka then ke Njirong ni America so yine Njirong na you ni yaunde dai gisha
JB, I'm going to hurry up. In the interest of time, let's limit the narratives and then get to the point.
Okay, yeah. So me la banjine visi ta turungi visi tu sikabani si you in the world we about bottom line ana. And then yeah.
Yeah, me kwani si run on time meta fan ndunze the Dr. Ntiba time for me EK. Then about me see where then our panelists will give them Dr. Bulzi, I'll be part of it, like the closing remarks so that you have about 2 minutes to do a summation. before we close. So mid, Dr. Ndi. Then after that, time for me, Ike, and then I will revert to the panelists to do final remarks.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Not so much to say, just to say, if we don't value our institutions, nobody will respect them. We need to value our institutions. We need to value the position of the Maya, value the position of the king, value the positions that people hold in our traditional setup so that others can respect. Look, we've had situations where people who were living in Mbum land, who were married, won a lottery, and they were refused because they didn't have a marriage certificate. We, in the Mbum land, I wonder whether we have 10% of our community that is married with a birth certificate. We need to make people know that we have marriage systems which necessarily do not require a marriage certificate, and the families live well, and they are connected, and they stay, and they don't even get into divorce. That those papers don't mean much. We need to sell that so that people know that we have a system which is operational and which works. That is how we value our institutions, and that is how people will respect those institutions. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Ndi. Time for me, Ike.
Me question adi me batu ku bu gorelasi but meta sung ni wine bilon fe sang bu sang te wi be midima. Then next iune si ayu bushi mama yala ayu bushi tata la the major you jibanje du dine si agile yeni ka mbo tata la si ambo Wimbumi si agiyeni ka si abagiyeni ambo tatampu Dr. Richard Lana si abake turi yumo an nashika ambo tangu JB shilana si abake turi yumo even an nashika no isibu abaku jeshiyeni si agiyeni ka bana si bigiyeni. The next yune si ambo si yuna si akata ne si giyeni bana si support wifo si support Wimbum Funds Union so that si channel is bumbona to we get si wewe and go Wimbum tesi ring ne anje busi gina anje busi bagina ka si agate shi deshi akumo siska si fa yeni ga so si support wifo ashila kisi anje ndundi ne waha ba mi jimo oshila ambondi Wimbumi ayushi ne munyang wa ayushi gendo asisi bimwe chichila dente wiebo deshine kumo sis pa gite yuana duba antani o duba ngamniha tebo doyeni meshila wa ashila ashi dungshi dungni ba nyendu dine be fayansi mo ewi kuye mo mesang buha wewe ambosi lana ambosi fumena senna bisho yomena cha yob secretary sang ni buha yobe si konete buha le jeshiyeni tebo bale yeni then bishi siaka fu emena se do ndabiye ndi la la le to ti yu shine abi kone ba kenjo te wo ya bo kubshi ba sha bile beri wi me yom shi wi ala mena si do abi bouche adi me ba la ku ko si ti me sang annonce abi ber mbeke la ha jodi simpe chasi.
There is a time for me. Before them, I find the panelists. So, okay, your closing remarks. Nora, we all agree on one thing. MAYAAS need our support and help and attention. My proposal on the way forward is to do a needs assessment from the MAYAAS. Let us prioritize their needs based on what they verbalize as their needs. Very, very good. Very Nora. I the one thing they don't want was on it. I think the palaces in Bumland in general need our financial support. Also a very good point. We all agree we should not, maybe in my opinion, not trivialize or engulf the MAYAAS needs in the overall needs of the Wimbum people. This session I have focus on them. Let's take their needs. We know that we have a lot of needs in the Wimbum, whether it's the palaces or whatever, but this isolated need of the MAYAAS, let's take that as I say. Uncle JC, over to Bomita. Uncle Jesse, where you work out? Were you on mute? Uncle Jesse, where you work out?
Is he on mute? Because he had
He's
his hand.
speaking. Hey, Uncle Jesse, where you work out? Where you, man? We don't hear. We can't hear you.
He should just unmute him.
He doesn't look like he's muted, but it's just that his speaker phone is not on.
How are you? Not for you.
Raymond, can you mute yourself, please?
How are you?
Raymond, mute yourself.
Okay. You going to work? Yeah. Bye-bye. See you
I'm
tomorrow.
not sure whether it's...
You can do it for me, eh?
Oh, God.
Mute him. Mute him.
I don't know who has control. Okay, he's muted now.
Okay,
Simon, Uncle Jessica, look, Conimans back on, then he can speak because we cannot hear him. So, what should we do the order? Dr. Buti Akadi, then time for meeting.
Yeah, then we'll have we'll have to get into the, like suggestions and
MAYAAS.
Kind of, yes, maybe so that we come out with a concrete.
Yeah, so my tate, the panelists all speak this if the final place to the MAYAAS.
That's right.
Okay. Dr. Buti, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you, everyone. We entered this debate with the puzzle that it would appear that what our tradition had stipulated as far as the institution of the MAYAAS is concerned seem to become a problem today with the passage of time, of course. It would appear that time is rendering most of those safeguards irrelevant. Somehow also rendering that institution absurd. But I am convinced at the same time that most of the problems our fondoms are facing is because the role of the MAYAAS is not adequately played. Either because they've not been given the free hand to play the role, or because they've not been educated to play that role. So because of that, most of them no longer play the role of advising the fund. They no longer play the diplomatic role they're supposed to be playing in the palaces. They no longer play the role seriously and things like that. So if we get back, I think through the forum that I hear exists already among the MAYAAS, let the role of the MAYAAS be spread out once again. How many of them know what they're actually supposed to be doing? What is the enabling environment to allow them play that role? How many funds are even aware of the rules of MAYAAS? Yeah, because it would appear that even some funds out of ignorance may be impeding the functioning, the free functioning of the MAYAAS in their rules. I want to think that it is important that this education just starts today and should continue in the different forums so that we are able to come to a point where everyone takes up his responsibility to solve this problem. Because as the fund said, it's collective responsibility. The funds have their role in it. The elite have theirs. The MAYAAS themselves have a responsibility, and every other person does. So if we recognize that and pick up our responsibilities, I think this will be put back to the pristine situation. What had existed is where we are going back. And I think that if we don't get back there, we will not have been doing anything good, even to our culture or to our identity. Thank you very much.
Very good. So I'll go back before I continue the part. Uncle Jesse, where you work at? Will you work at?
We're not hearing him.
Yeah, till tomorrow. Leave him so.
The microphone to problem. The microphone to problem. Just you unmuted, but so the problem is the microphone.
If I got my cell phone, otherwise they set it up. Maybe he's not using the data from the cell phone. Time for me. It isn't working to anything I add.
Certainly, very
1
Mangiri.
minute, 2 minutes, very well.
Very Mangiri. I will even take 30 seconds. Yeah.
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, we are concluding that it's not a question of gender equality. It's a question of gender parity and equity. Secondly, I want to clarify us here that the funds did not, as I underline, did not say MAYAAS should now get married. I would want us to read the resolution carefully. I've written it in the group. I've written it already. If you look at the language that was used there, you will understand that nothing has changed from what obtained in the past. They simply wanted to draw the attention of the public that the person who stays with the Maya should be fully responsible, not to allow the Maya to wander about, thereby taking care of the children. But the person cannot pay a dowry on Maya's head, and the person does not have the right to the remains of a Maya. So under certain circumstances, the children the man makes with the Maya can be negotiated, which means you come to the palace and negotiate, and you can rightfully own some of the children, but not all. So I thank you, and I think I've exhausted my 1 minute.
There is a time for me. I think one of the things that maybe some of us have an idea away. I think we also already agreed that although they said it was a new ruling, not much had changed, because it is still left to, okay, let's do the marriage, right? A husband, but it's still that come we stay. And it's still that the children are with their palace, which means that the man can still say, make it born after they're not my children. So it actually was a much ado about nothing, right? Which is what we're saying, they shouldn't start from the top, like they can get married. We talk about taking care of them when they get enthroned, from a child up to even to the point
Thank you.
of getting married. And if they are empowered and educated, there may not be that need for us to talk about that. So you might go to I missed that part of the discussion, but it's very clear that not much has changed. Maybe one last chance. Yes, one last chance to Uncle Jesse. If we cannot hear you, then Banner's way. All right. It looks like we have the same problem. Sorry, Uncle Jesse. Maybe you can write it down another forum. Time for Mindy Manjong.
Yeah. Yeah. If I may state this, let us not again make the error that was made at BA. Yeah. Time for me 10. Yeah. Wants to defend BA, but I think all of us can read. And His Royal Majesty, the font too, here present, indicated that there was a problem with what was done in BA. And the reason for that was that they heard about this cry and were in a haste to provide a solution, and ended up with providing no real solution. So my advice will be that let us not in the same light be in a haste to think that we are providing solutions to this problem. If there could be a committee, however established, to really study this problem historically and with the present day ramifications as pertains to that problem, then we'll be able to come out with more clear solutions that will do a lot of justice to the Mayas regarding their positions and their function, the functioning of that position in society in a way that is more dignifying than it presently might be. Yeah, because what Mbie said was that the Nyamdu actually can marry the Maya, be entitled to his children, except that when the Maya does disappear, then the Maya should be returned to the palace. Yeah, so there is no mincing on that there was a deviation. And that deviation, of course, was couched in the language of marriage, except that instead of talking of husband, they were still talking of nyamdu. Yeah, because that arrangement gave the nyamdu the children, which is different from what traditionally obtains, that the children of the Maya are children of the palace.
And for me,
nyamdu. So there really needs to be a solution. And I am suggesting that we shouldn't, in the light of the discussion we just had here, come out with a solution because we haven't delved into the history, gotten the facts, gotten the responsibilities of the Maya as might have been lost along the way, to reconstitute them and make sure that they become functional going forward. Thank you all very much.
Say time for me. I just want to say something a little bit before the Mkafa to the other side, the Maya way. Chola, if we look at what the Maya said, there's a need for the immediate support when they were talking in their own words. They didn't talk about, whether they get married or whatever. It was just about, even in the context of their roles now, how can we support and empower them? So my contest could do, because I always believe that the funds took the easy way out at the end. There was a lot put in there, and let's not make that mistake again. While we are trying to delve into what the role of the Mayas are, what can we go forward, what are their immediate needs now? How can we support them now? How can we, empower them now, even within the context of all the murkiness and the misunderstanding? Proposing is even in some solutions. They solve the institution of the Mayas, but even within this context, no matter how gray and murky it is, how can we support them? I want a huge take home. On the other side, whether Pastor Koyo, Reverend Koyo, me line whether he has anything to say. Reverend Koyo, I don't see him there. So maybe see the Mayu online. Does have anything? Now winter. You're on mute. Can I unmute?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Moderator, I thank you. I have 2-3 very quick comments. My last words before you close this wonderful debate, this wonderful discussion, the learning process. I've learned a whole lot. I will go back to the question we had to answer. Is it a question of gender equity? And what I have learned is we should be talking more about gender complementarity, like it happens in most societies in the world. We can't talk about gender equity. It's a notion, and a notion we work towards attaining, whether it's in the developed world or in the developing countries. So I believe we should be working towards a greater gender complementarity in the work of the palace. The next question, and I think one of my co-panelists brought it out very well. Is there a need for a change? I think we all agree, Madam Moderator, that yes, something must give. Something has got to be done. Question, what has got to be done in the short term, in the midterm, and in the long run? I think the question you also asked indirectly, and you're persistent about it, is what should be done in the short term to try to address this very pertinent issue that our Mayas are bringing up. I hear Dr. Manjong when he says we should push it a little further, we shouldn't be in a hurry. But I also hear you saying something has got to be done, and I'm on the side of something has got to be done in the short term, because there is an emergency, there's an urgency to it. If not, our Mayas will not cry this loudly. Well, one great thing we want to commend is the fact that they are organized already, because the first step should have been organize them, bring them together, listen to them, and let them propose what they think should be short term. Now, and I think my co-panelist said it again, I retain it very well. If there is a need for change, who should pilot that change? Meaning, what should we do concretely? What are the concrete actions we should take in the short run, in the midterm, and in the long term? While I agree that we should think about it a little more, I still think while thinking in the long term, something should be done in the short term. What that is, I'll work together with whoever is put there so we get it. One quick thing again, and I think I heard Susan talk about we should ask the government to do something. I just want to flag the fact that there is a 1997 law that regulates chieftaincy in Cameroon. I want to say, while the law says this is how you choose a fund and you install the fund, but it doesn't really give directives about how fundoms should be run. Oops, sorry. Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So yes, I think something should be done in the short term. What it is, let the Mayas themselves give us what they think it could be. But I am all for action now, while still reflecting. Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. You did a great job. Once more, I'm humbled and grateful.
Thank you so
Madam
much.
Moderator, Reverend Koyo is still online.
All right, Reverend Basilani, any closing reflections there?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and everyone on board. I am sincerely very thankful for this forum, and I see it as a dawn of a new beginning in regards to the plight of the Mayas in Mbum land. I want to subscribe also to the suggestion that was registered by Tanfo Mindi Manjong, that we should set a commission to carefully study it, tracing it from its genesis and how it has evolved over the years and the transformation that has been recorded, highlighting the strengths and the weaknesses and the needs that are being surfacing now. And then we lay down suggestions on how to better the plight of the Mayas in the short run and in the long term, so that it's sustainable. Since it is an ongoing thing that we have people come and to the position of the Maya, and they are sent out of the palace, and they groom up children who remain the children of the palace, and the population is increasing. We should think of a way in managing it in such a way that there will be sustainability, so that instead of giving them fish in the hand every day, would enable them to be able to go fishing themselves. That way, we will be doing empowerment that we talked about, and it will lessen some of the stress on us. Thank you very much.
You see, unfortunately, see, we try to put a bag mush and jump is in 2 hands time for me. Can I ask you see over to get that day again? Obalani was a bit sang so better using the Uncle JC, then Dr. Professor Bomba, about phone like about Uncle JC, you able in a Kadi will Dika Uncle to you in the Kadi will you or
yeah, didn't.
Oh, Uncle JC, go what can you we could see you work out. Come on, what you move, I give where I see you technology landing Kadi.
Professor Elias Bomba, Jessica.
They made a lani table stop equity, so meta anyway you can. Uncle Jesse, you can't get one more chat when you wake up. So, Uncle Professor Bomba.
I think he has not connected to the video, to the audio.
Yeah, he's not. So that's why I ask if somebody can help him.
Professor Bomba is on.
Professor Bomba, can I
Yeah, me on CC, may you sorry, me ba join late, but Mbobuha you possible and fit back to use all the bonbons over la. Time for me, ahula yushi me back on la time for me to manjong you name you mo okibane si ka ke si va ku kwa sinadi si vune solution si ni on the table he was here ka jo you he okolo la barane the stakes are really high you true mina adi overnight, you know, in a few months after a powerful speech at the convention siku vene solutions inika so mekwane si do slowly deliberately and all kinds of things njo njo si union bika or si union Canada or si union US ka kwasi njo si asi bo wumbume si kongen inete si fa si visita wite you ha a bong. Number two, the last speaker like you bonbon si adi si chance the politics of gender from discussion haka are you real na temfa we question he committee soka fa obo kwasi okay mwe hiki issue maya eba mpimo toni nyamdu ka okitoni ka limbume okay kabane imari maya mbu here isi kwasi the possibility in adisi introduce a limited sense of matriarchy ini nyamdu bangwe hibi move to the palace but maya saka it is something to think about. Njo hi sikate kwasi gender parity ka. Then bane the conflict buku baba the Maya who itur and satisfy ngweho yobibo and when a shufa jila but me kwane si akwa asham mbome kwasine in Maya akfu a village with a long history. Siapaku trick mu gender parity. Anyway, akwamba nyamdu bane abi move bichuminto. But himaya you. You an important aspect of the conversation. She kabana innovation. Yes, me bimina innovation, but you in the idea she siture and non-submittable. Te visibly be by visibta or quasi bonbon. You may quasi solve some of these problems, you see, Lana. Very we see me, you saw in my late.
Very
This should be your Ogi presentations, bonbon say.
Very see, me kwani sibi move on, Meline, she does this almost in 3 hours. Or how is it from 11 o'clock to 2? That's 3 hours. Me kwani si and then it's still a huge number of people of now at the moment 56. So you a record for the fact that it shows the interest that we have in this topic and the importance that it holds in our collective heart. So good eye on some way. Me kwane mido in reverse order momala na similar ni maya kwil equia de then balotimbo maya mingarum de meri wada Peter yona ka talking if tata di wata ka closing remarks or big closing remarks with tata di tesikado on like so we'll see.
Jube abu fa me mu. Jube abu fa time for me ike mu fe te de fa.
Time for me ike me yeah okay so big the out choosing me lefe Maya mo we no more then I'll give you that. Maya di o Maya kuya. Maya kuya you on mute. It's online now.
Yeah, to what them verifying it. Let me see. I think we can start with Maya from
Miami Garum de.
Yeah.
Maya, we are over. Okay, yet in Maya, you back on.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Yes. Abena never.
Okay, Mama Lala.
Me young so we say. Berry say me young so we she we are monkey quite and tang ha then see a di ava ba me to see you na. A young see yata the Njirong Maya Njirong ba mangiri. A young so away Dr. Buddha the always show di mean that tenina. Ala ne berry we see. And cheap she ne we are funny way. Ba ku yin fe she we are lon ne way. Akisi mindumo an lane mita si wura fa wi fo si wure ayong se reverend ayong se ngowe ine abi si bile fa to le kun tomza beri wisi
Hey, Mama.
Very mama, very well, go see.
And Maya, we ready. You on mute. Mama, yet no, you on mute. Okay, time for me, since we keep Mama Mbum like for movie and 1 minute.
Afo larfo. Fama mo fi hat
It's about 2 minutes.
That I go for larfo. Fama mo fi hat.
Why you?
You balaye. All right.
For me,
Okay, Maya, put some more, so I tell that time for me.
That's
okay,
right.
Bane, we put him in Maya. We got me make.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Put him in Maya. We do it. Makuba young. We have a fire and just up.
And for me, you live with Bonica.
Okay, time for me, me you're bomb with family. Time for me, me you're bomb with family. Tem la te aka la beru si. Me yon si the moderator. I yon si chap si bi Njirong. Me yon si bi uwe si avuntenina. Me kwa wura ye ni ko bu mo ba si. Wura ye ni bu mo ake de even a chasi. What problem gi wura ye ni bu. Me kwa ne speaker mo alane wura functions ka ayushi level wa meta bi me menen bam bu gor we batu yon so she ko fi bi ko won she would function habi ko na timiki but ko ka correct education ka bale function na ba ko so
networks, Mama teacher, go baba me.
maybe teacher of the oil.
so when you look when we aringa we aringa sabi jobi mo wa fe mo se mo we lokin mo bala bera mo we are empower we refa won get we ka ko ne muriyeni the school yeni we be ringa sabi ana te you would function na ko fu te we ko ke fa o shine agingwe ka so when you look we senjo we achieve we see ke we wiki support with anjeke me kwa wura ye ni bona she would be do over with groups back entinina yo wura tur forum ake tur social groups they would form up jjj and table nyor bumo women she would be lodombo ke fa away before the week ki fa yi ambo we fa would be chungwesana would be booming te would be bonbon se would be natimina they would connect ba forum na te would we de ala ne beru wi ba si ibambo from to me ayon je married na ya na yiwa emjo wusika yo wuram check ne aki garbia ba mu garbia mbo aki bana kade akudu marile and then waka du marila na mari du mo du ga we yo mari du akelo du ga afi mo bana bi du afele and then aki check ne ka ba we marika egikele ayura la ne te wi ja one te wurchu yeni ka nyu ka ja woni ndu shabi chu yeni ikubon ka yi waka turka ta wa ku chule fon yeni bara yon shi wisala beru wi ba si du kun tombi tapsini
Berry, si Mama. Melini Dr. Professor Bomba, okay, chut bomita ake was misaka ke Natalie. All right, Professor Bomba, me kwa ni bona yoba and mistake. Time for me ke 30 seconds over Jimo before My first 1 minute, what could I do? To say 30 seconds.
Well, I'm ya.
Now time for me, no.
All right, okay. Meshilan la bushi si lana. Adi vi kulo diu kulo tira mena. Giti yumunga. Sisiga teba ne sibi lormena. Kerju another step. Tebo jasiga. Bane buana buku teo wamena. Maka yu yambo lingwe lambo ta fomin dimanjonga lana. Kerju mbo historian mbo lambo Dr. Buja alana. Dr. Ndi alana. Kriumba BJJ alana. Nje kong ya mene si lot dugi yuwa. Me kong ne kuteba mene ha. Njo si you are to do something. Ade si kutu mena. Kudi bu evologe tiba mene ha. Bane si bi lot doa fadi mo je. Meji lana. Te program chief. Nje kanadana. Tigashi yuwa yeni. For you are channeling job si bi doa to wifo. Te yuwa naga jeshi yeni. You see ta. Mfu Shinkwirong Yuta Ashi she busi si lana and si aga bana sibi giyo bana sibi lormina do bongbong teru ning meti shekade even effect ka bana sibi ude tete mina bana bitaga me la mene ku knowledge you say ku busi si ashemina you say adi mrenga yo arkere contribute mina siga ndobe shemfe ichasi the issue ya ngene si fiaba di sibi channel buwa tedo a ba shisi buwa wewe channel table yeti mediche ebe gile effect we ma wera terwiterga we ta wera terwiterka wer shi bomdi wera temin giwi and we tagi yute yeni se ne kemen fi se na ko tombi mwe fakere kwa shine nku yute ma ya batte be bolo bane ha ndobe wer be giyu ke eninete bomdi alegi and abangenete nfugi yuche bomdia konete nfugi te maya gi yuche bomdia konete maya gi te tobo dule kutombi wera shi lane wurbi lor mena du kutombi se na du gi yeni kwa shine wurbi ta ko wurbi ma ayume urenji
Time for me.
Mano ya lefe wese am ka du dim kudu di got
Tembe kuliwa beri si nzima akrifa ne labu bongi dudu bia ku contribute mu male bo chiba bidika yuni labu benme ko siga bana ndembe kuyene labu boy metre so kade adi si ne tesika gi closing.
Hello, mangi beri si melane ma labu na lebo ni menjo oria wakuba minapsiba odilia bomba.
Hey, mama njua.
Me nonga titisi ini wa.
Hey, mama njua.
Amo mama njulange. Me nonga titisi ini. Ashi you me nonga titisi. Yo tata yo mi na blange. Me blange tari. Mama yo ambo fong bane beri si. Me da young organizers. Hane a discussion ha. Young mangiri. Mene wa girfa yeni. A moderate bu la mene. Hey, Mbum. See you abi. See you abi lange. Njo topic has in this discussion. We could have USA 2023. And you have move. We could have the neck. I'm sure I no bonus in see you see Maya. Biot abdimi. We could have abdimi invite Maya. Say invite Maya. Maya you have convention not deliver. The back on it to why you boo. May young see in a discussion, huh? You meet it. Wa mbi go join bi we cho la ne a discussion shi karasi soons ni meeting ni ka. Njo most you na si atun ngira na and decide you moga. So si we could di wa. Beri si mangi di merine sa mfuku convention we na yo ntu wo mi ya sangi. Ala ne ma ya si mir. Minim tisi an mirki waki ke resolution ba ne minim ti you na have meet it. So me young sisi a difa urunweba lane maya yoki tule rule ka mekani jana dudu njo maya yoka du sumbo tata yi manjindap mimundap tata yo te lane maya yo lane ka tata yoki ba tata yo atur mirwa we atur fi njo bisi yo tata yo turi biwewe abi tata yi, biwewe abi mama yi. So mama yoka lot du fantang ni tata yi yo temi titi sungneka. So melane yana le kwi. Jisi lane mai otu le role kana. Yana kwi. Bet kawane si ambos ya miss inanchi nine karaja mama ya njekele. Me kwane in the immediate ni sabaturanchi lane. Oh, mama yi so bi miss na barbina. Sibi gike ka nde wochi dunwa abombonga nyo mama mlane. Oro garo wo yisi ni ko mas ni family. So si aba ke embo na ambo yanji abala staros. Ashi lane you sure gisi ni na. You mo si gisi ni bane. Ti kwa ashi no bi gike ni yene maya yi so bi mi young na obi do school like while zero more solutions and for Berry magosi chana topping bo mo mangiri tapsi ni ma
Very see where boss me ma labu mpasi ni labu andale for bombs have any firepower. But me also say very see ma manju. But meta is more correction more can buy way I'm to moderator board me need to go me question me the particular speakers will respond to that. Me when there were certain condition eba lani me talk more Frolo Bambo empower the Mayas, Kawa Maya, no Giu Moka, then me talk more Babani Simo Maya, no Yabruka, and because of Yabruka, Simoshi Yabushi over Sposa Giga, Kibani Mary, whether any panelists are Balani, Maya, Kuchuruka, Lemekwani, in both cases, it was in support of the institution and saying, I usually Mekuta Korewa, but for the Sibo, Lomina Simodi Bawaka. Kemagi fale bichi yabashi you
No, you're
right. Very see. No. The overall impression abani si value the institution of the Mayas, abano empower we or educate we define the role clearly, and for the funds to understand that this institution is there to support them. Kibani ole kaso we aside ka meta mbipo ni mina nenjo mbito kutigo again mekuta yongs me yong mina mbokadi yongs weweka rapita ko Canada fonganjo manga Njirong time for me we all the time for me turning time for me ike brother wilderness me wo messy ni ko baba fe time for me to manjong ma rose ma manjo everywhere, me kwani mbi do lessons in Maya we may see and Reverend Koyo. It's been a real pleasure to moderate this. It's been a very easy job because when you have a topic that is as emotional, people are so emotionally invested in it as this one, and everybody was thinking in the same direction. It makes it very easy to guide the discussions and the conversation. So me ponisi ni then Fanny Peter. The steps going forward. Then after that, mekwani sibila tata fonganjo kugimu close and tesika lots. So Peter te bane falali milanga. Very was it.
Yeah, so I think I have to, on behalf of the platform, and the platform is made up of all participants, all panelists, all communicators, all co-discutants, and I want to just thank everyone who has been part of this discourse. We labeled it like something that has had to do with an offensive part and a defensive part, but at the end of the day, we realized that maybe we have an idea. It's a question of gender parity, gender complementarity, and the point now is the way forward. I think we will contact several persons, resource persons, and anyone who would like to take this forward to contact us so that we form a committee that will rethink into this, see what to do, hold sessions, working sessions, and then see how we can, put forth our suggestions to all Mbum platforms and fora in the whole world, maybe in Cameroon and all over where we have the Mbum people, because our strive here is to have a change effect. So as much as the world is changing, we have things have to change. We are grateful and thankful for our mothers and our father who was with us here. And I just want to say another kudos and thank you to Mangiri, Dr. Yengi Lillian, for a job excellently well done. I think that we could not ask for more or for several other persons. We say thank you, Mangiri. And as we close this session, please just know that you can always contact any of us and we'll be able to connect with your questions. We will direct it again to the speakers. We have the speakers forum for the next 1 week for any upcoming questions. And then we are privileged that our father can always come in and he's so accommodable with questions. And that is it. For now, once again, thank you. And I'll give the floor to His Royal Highness to close this session.
Okay, very see. Make the over 3 hours since here, Chumina have been very productive. Very productive. So may you see the initiators of this particular forum. And Bible my people perish because of lack of knowledge. She always say, Buambago, she Maya harms to do through the challenges but just enormous. Now we got the knowledge, we are aware of the challenges they have been going through. So the way forward, even if I'm Baba just in the forums or different forums, let's see if we can take these ideas back home to other groups and see how much help we can help to alleviate the situation in which our Mayas found themselves. Not just the Maya, but Babylon, more in the same situation. So, but we have to start from somewhere. And Babylon, even needing will be about 5 million, 10 million from the Maya. Maya Mangaro, women and okay. The mama, me too so credit your phone for $200. That is enormous help to her. These are our public servants. Let's take care of them. Let's support them. Let's encourage them. You should see the real things matter and will make a difference. So may you also be back here, you also believe you know what Bamina. So Berry, Mama, you applied at least carrying your Mbum the Pandora box and we will more answer. Very back.
Oh, thank you all.
Thanks.